Have your goals all figured out? The question is, how would you know when you get there? And this video, we will want to talk about the measures and how do you go about identifying good KPIs for your goals. So, one of the common questions that I've always get asked is, what kind of KPIs should I write for my goals? And instead of giving SSDs list of KPIs to look at, what I would like to do is to kind of guide you and show you the principles behind writing a good KPI. Because once you learn these principles itself, you would then be able to write good KPIs on your own anytime, every time. And I like to also mention that this same process applies to not just KPIs for staff, but also KPIs for any other goals in your plan. So first and foremost, let's take a look at what is a criteria for a good KPI. And when we talk about criteria, there are two specifically, and I like to think of KPIs as, are they valid and are they reliable? So let's look at what is a valid indicator first. Now, a valid indicator, what it means is that these are the set of indicators that are appropriate in measuring the attainment of the goals or your objectives, right? So it must be valid. What do I mean by that? We'll go into a bit more detail in a bit. Now, the second criterion essentially says that, are your indicators reliable? Which means, are they able to stand up to scrutiny? Is it giving you a full and complete picture of the attainment of the goals and objective itself? So if it's just from one perspective or one angle, then that indicator may not be absolutely reliable. And how do we go about addressing that? We'll look at that in a subsequent video. So let's first look at the validity criterion. How do you ascertain if this indicator is a valid indicator to begin with? So the process goes like this. The first thing you want to do is you want to think of the idea of cause and effect. So when you do something, it results in a certain set of outcome, right? When you do something, you result in a certain set of outcomes. So what you want to think of is this pairing of activities and outcomes, right? Something that you do, and this bring about a set of outcomes. So way to think about this is, for example, as an activity, you would want to measure what is the percentage of staff with learning needs in a particular key area of focus, right? You may want to look at that. And so once you have identified that, of course, you would want to bridge the gap, or you want to help staff address those area of focus. And and once that is being implemented, of course, what an outcome of that would be, staff equipped with the competencies in the key area of focus, for example. Now, another example that you can look at is, perhaps you want your staff to be innovative, right? And so you want to see the percentage of staff projects, right? Perhaps your staff engage in lots of types of projects itself, but you want to see what is the percentage of those projects that your staff are engaged in. What is the percentage of them that are actually innovative? Because if you know that there is an increase in the number of innovative projects, there is a higher chance that some of these innovative projects might lead to a breakthrough, might lead to the attainment of school results. And so the outcome, the paired outcome that you can possibly look at would be ratio of innovative projects to achievement in school goals and objectives. So that is something that you want to see. So you may have a whole spectrum of innovative projects, but you want to see what is the ratio like of those innovative projects leading to attainment of school outcomes, and those innovative projects that do not. So another example that you can look at, and here we can go on with many examples, but you get the point. So the third example, it's you want to look at the percentage of staff who embark on self-learning, right? Because here we are, we want staff to take ownership of their own learning. So we want to see what is the percentage of them, embarking on their self-led learning. Now, you do not want people to just go ahead and engage in a series of self-led learning, but you also want to see some outcomes itself. And so, one way of looking at that, you can look at what is the percentage of new learning packages that are developed as a result of the number of staff who have embarked on self-led learning. In other words, you want to say that, well, let's take a look at all the staff that has embarked on self-led learning and how many of them actually come up with new or innovative learning packages. And that kind of gives you an idea of the outcome. So the point that I want to make here is the following. It is not enough to just look at, a set of activities. What is it, the things that you do? But it's also necessary at some point in time to also look at what is the outcome that is going to come as a result of your activities, right? So this is the way to help you ascertain if this set of indicators are valid or not. So you can look at this set of indicators, and this set of indicators could apply to the goal called competent staff or even engaged staff, right? Because a staff who is engaged would be someone who is always embarking on things that are new or innovative, always thinking of new ways to solving old problems, for example. An engaged staff would be taking the initiative to embark on their self-learning, for instance. And so all these indicators are valid indicators to measure that goal. But of course, the next question is, are they reliable? And that's what we're going to address in the next video. But for now, what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to evaluate your own staff KPIs and see how many of those KPIs actually satisfy the validity criterion. Once you've done that, I will see you in the next video.